Evil science and magic buddies.
Hello and welcome to the Kryptonaut Podcast presents Evil Science and Magic Buddies, the show within the show, the conspiracy of the conspiracy, the Crypto Roundtable. I am Mark Storrs, and with me as always is...
Chris.
And...
Oh, that was such a pregnant pause. I loved it. You know what? I'm actually full of anticipation. I feel like I'm observing the pod from the inside out. It's Rob Morphy.
Thank you both so very much for joining me yet again.
Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome, Christopher.
Thank you. I would like to thank you personally.
Yeah. What did you say? That you like me personally?
I'd like to thank you personally
for
this opportunity.
For a second there, I thought I said, I like you personally. I'm like, well, thank you very much. I like you as well. You're a very close friend.
Yeah, that
it took
too.
a long time for him to get to the point where he could say so out loud.
You know what? I like you.
Oh, shit. All right. So thank you all so very much for joining us. For listener stories, I believe this is part 6. Keep them stories coming in, kryptonautpodcast@gmail.com. We will be getting back to our regular researched episodes once we are able to get back together in person, to lock eyes with each other, to have the standoff, to know when to talk, to not interrupt each other, to feel the presence of us around each other. So that's coming soon.
That's sort of like osmosis ambience, that energy feeding. It's very, very difficult to do remotely. I mean, I think we put a noble foot forward, but
we tried.
I look forward to the in-person imbibing, even if it is at social length.
Yes.
Apropos
And we will be getting,
of the moment.
We will be getting together again in person very soon. So to kick it off, hellerspace.com. Go get yourself some fun Kryptonaut shit. It's there. We got tons of stuff.
All right.
We got everyone's been putting up pictures of themselves with their fucking Kryptonaut masks. It's dope. Masks are important nowadays. I know there's a big discussion there, but we're not going to have it. Wear a fucking mask. Get a Kryptonaut one. Send us a picture. We'll fucking repost it. You're dope. We're all dope. Everyone's dope. It's cool. So check it out. Also, too, if for any reason your TeePublic order is fucked up somehow, whether it's the print or the shipping is delayed, let us know. Please be aware, though, that TeePublic has been dealing with some delays. So there could be a little bit of a delay with your order, but don't worry. They've been pretty good about getting them out sort of on time. But, again, hellerspace.com. Check it out there. Patreon.com/Kryptonaut Podcast. $1 is a shout out. $5 is a shout out and some bonus audio. July is when the tax collection begins.
Yeah.
So Chris has some stuff in place there. So that should be all taken care of. If for some reason you notice some weird charge, I'm not really sure what it would be tax-wise, because they are going to be, remitting tax on it. So I guess just if anything looks goofy,
it shouldn't be egregious. If you're paying $1, you should not be taxed. If you're in the $5 tier, it shouldn't be more than like a dime to like 15 cents. If it's anything more, then just let us know.
Yeah, just get a hold of us, DM me, shoot an email, say something in the Facebook group, do something there. Yes. Oh, and Patreon, we have some shout outs to do real quick here. We have Damien Zuccarelli. Thank you so much, Damien.
Oh, Satan's other black sheep son, the blacker sheep.
It's fucking cool. It's a fucking awesome name, too.
It really is.
Rules.
Thank you, Damien.
like a Batman villain. Well, actually, Damien is a Batman villain, so there you go. Damien, thank you so very much.
And Zuccarelli is somebody that's clearly in Greece. The remake and or original.
Dope.
It's a perfect combo.
The Zook.
Dame Zooks.
Yeah, I love that name. It's awesome. Also here we have Patty Schmidt. Thank you so very much, Patty. And finishing it off here, Ryan Sullivan. Thank you so very much, Ryan.
Mr. Sullivan, thank you so much.
If we fuck that up, let Mark know.
Oh, wow. If we fucked up Ryan Sullivan.
It's Ryan Sullivan. You idiots.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that'd
Just
be
let
great.
us know. Just let us know. Also, too, if you're going to sign up for our Patreon and you're like, you know what, my name is not easy to say, and you phonetically spell it out for us, we appreciate you so very much if you do that. So
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that helps. So yeah, I think that's it. That's it for the intro. Thank y'all so very much. Robert, let's get fucking creepy, dude.
Let's do it. Obviously, as the protocols state, we're still doing our sweet, sweet listener stories. And the first one comes to us from Dick.
Perfect.
I assume it's an alternative to Richard. I'm not here to fucking second guess your choice.
All right.
And Dick says, "Good afternoon, gents. In the winter of 2010, two of my buddies got into a fatal car accident, killing one of my buds and leaving the other in the ICU for months." It starts off with a lot of levity and hilarity, but in all honesty, Dick, that sucks. We've all lost people.
Yeah, oh, that sucks.
And it blows. The story begins after my one buddy has been released from the hospital about a year later. Spring 2011. Myself and four buddies set out to pick up our friend that survived the crash. Good, because a lot of people that are in the hospital a long time lose buddies. Noble shit. Our plans were to pick him up and to go visit our fallen friend's gravesite. Again, noble. The plan was to visit his gravestone and smoke a few blunts around his grave. Friendship.
Nice, totally.
Yeah.
So as night came, we rolled up our blunts and set out to the graveyard. We waited until night because we, and I like that he takes the time to break this down, A, we're on our last leg in high school, and B, weed is illegal. It makes sense to look for the cover of darkness. We drive out to the graveyard and park the car, being the only ones in the lot. We made our way to the gravesite. Be careful and don't walk over people's graves, one friend said as a warning. I've heard that. Have you guys heard that?
I have,
all my life. That was like, you don't want, I don't know why. It was just like, you don't do it.
But
I was
have we all done that?
I make it a point to try not to, but you don't always necessarily know like where the plot is. But I know when my like I bring like the wife and kids when we go like walk in Fort Hill
and kids, you can't be faulted for traipsing about where they're going to traipse.
Yeah.
No, but I'd make sure that I give them the big dad discussion of, hey guys, we're going to walk around, but don't go, stay on the path. Don't go walking over gravestones, disrespectful. And like, why? I'm like, because fucking ghosts are going to come from under your bed and tear you into fucking hell.
Oh my
and
God.
I can't save you.
Do you say anything
no one told
even
me that,
close to that? Because you're the fucking worst.
I might fuck with them a little bit about it, but not like that. Okay, maybe it is that bad. But you know what? They're good kids. They got good heads on their shoulders. They know when to listen. They know when to have fun.
Wow. Okay.
I feel like you just disclaimed your whole shitty fatherhood. Just, hey, they know when to have fun. They got good heads on their shoulders. They'll deal with the ghosts themselves.
Right.
Mark Stores.
No, I would not say that to them, but I might razz them a little
As
bit.
a kid, I used to
was
play
always
in
told not to.
cemeteries all the time. Never was once warned not to do that. My grandfather was the caretaker of a local large cemetery. So my grandmother literally lived at the house on top of the cemetery. It's like a folky film forever. So my whole childhood was spent playing in the cemetery where my dad grew up. And it never once occurred to me that I was being the slightest bit disrespectful by playing hide and go seek or fucking around. And maybe it's just the sheer innocence of it that spared me the wrath of the dismembered ghosts that you're more familiar with, Mark. But either way, that's not something I heard until I was a teenager.
I think it's more about intent than anything, because like if you go like if I like both my grandmothers are passed, and if we go on Mother's Day just to stop by, we're kind of on the area where she would have been buried physically on the ground, right?
Sure. Like standing on top of her.
So, but we're not like fucking juggling and being dickheads. So
the greatest disrespect to the dead is juggling.
Don't juggle on the grave.
Miming is a close second, but do not juggle on the dead.
Don't fucking juggle.
Fair.
But I think it's more about intent, because no one bitched over that. But when you're kids, it's like, don't walk on the grave. It's just, I think that's more like, don't be your kid self on a, what I mean? Like.
I mean, my grandparents used to always yell whenever we'd be at whether it was a funeral or visiting graves. He'd be like, "Don't walk on the graves." Even when I was in high school, our local high school was right across from a graveyard, and I would skip school and go to the graveyard to smoke weed.
That
and
was the graveyard my dad was raised in.
I would be skipping school like I don't fucking give a shit. Fuck you, fuck this, fuck that, and then I'm like smoke weed. I'm like I can't step on a grave, I'll die. And I fucking wouldn't even. I would totally not. Well, we actually would go to the mausoleum,
it worked. It kept you in line.
Oh, and now I'm keeping my kids in line. Yeah,
right.
The ghosts under the bed that drag you to hell. Yeah,
excellent,
perfect.
So
all right,
I
let's
think
get back to
we clarified that. Don't juggle with the dead. That's fair. Okay. So, as one friend gives the warning not to walk on graves, the majority of us, Dick continues, were like, right. And he mentions that's in the Dr. Evil voice. So, use that in your imagination.
Nice.
We get to our buddy and spark up the blunt and pass it around. And even let the blunt rest on our fallen brother's gravestone so that he could, quote unquote, toke up.
One for the homie.
Yeah.
Our buddy who survived was overcome with emotions and broke down. But as that was happening, we all started to notice a sort of muffled convo going on. The group fell silent until someone said, "Do you guys hear that?" He was quickly answered with, "Shut up," as if us bringing attention to it would add to the situation. As we stood there continuing to smoke and light up the second blunt, the voices grew louder, but still stayed muffled. I started to think the voices were coming 6 feet deep in the graves.
Whoa.
The voices sounded to be all around us. As if we were intruding on the nightly gathering of ghosts. All right. Well.
All right.
There's a lot of things happening here.
Yeah. Is that where the story ends?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
Just checking.
There's a few more sentences. I will mention those things in a moment. We will continue. At this point, my one buddy was freaking out and telling us not to talk about it and just ignore it. But the voices were just too loud to ignore. That's fucking... Dude, just shut the fuck up. Get high. We're
Ignore the dead.
Yeah, if you pretend it's not there, it's not real.
Don't name the dead, they'll name you.
Oh my God, that sounds so cryptic. That sounds so authentically evil.
I know.
Jesus
I
Christ.
just said it. It's my shit.
No,
Don't
I
name the
know
dead.
you just
say
made
it.
it up. But I feel like that
Jesus.
came from the Middle Ages. That's like a Black Plague quote.
That's some Necronomicon shit.
The dead name you.
Exactly.
What the fuck are you doing? You just made the world a worse place, and it's 2020. We can't afford it.
All right, this is the last pod, and me and Rob are starting a new one because we might be cursed now, and we need to clean ourselves.
Yeah, we have to sage everything.
Mark just fucked up
sage in my
everything.
computer.
I'm just in the basement getting weird, man. Think about the fucking voices of the dead. I'm in a basement coming through the wall. I'm on the level of the dead, technically.
In 500 years, that's going to be something someone's going to tell their kid and not be joking.
Yeah,
it's your
don't
fucking
dad.
That's right. They'll name you.
They'll name you, whatever that means. Oh,
okay. There it is.
As the voices carried on, we started to look around. But as we left the area of the grave site, so did the voices. Oh, so it's concentrated.
Weird.
As we all grouped back up to finish smoking, the voices were back. After we finished smoking, we chilled there to keep listening to the muffled voices. But our one friend was so scared, we left. I think we know what friend that was.
Yep.
Stop listening to the dead. It's safe to say we all left the graveyard in a single file line, making sure not to step on any grave sites.
yeah.
Smart move.
At this point.
Yeah.
This
Totally.
has been in my head for the last 9 years, and I still think of it to this day. I've had my fair share of creepy shit happen to me as a child, but this was the longest quote-unquote encounter I have ever had. We tried to find out where it was coming from, or if it could have been other people fucking with us. Like I said, it was in the middle of the night, and the only ones there that night, as far as we know, were us. But again, the voices sounded as if they were coming from the ground, not off in the distance. Love the show. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Dick. That is creepy.
Yeah, that's weird.
let's acknowledge the mitigating factors of high as kites. Emotionally overwrought.
Right.
The fact that teenage guys, by and large, when one of them has a legitimate breakdown because they survived this crash, teenage boys want to be there for a friend, but more than likely to comfort themselves in the face of not having to comfort said friend. They'd be like, "Did you guys hear that?" I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just saying that teenage boys are like the worst people you need as fucking a support system when you are shitting the bed psychologically, no matter how justified it is.
Well, I guess, depending on how high you are, you could just be getting paranoid. And obviously, if I'm not sure if you guys have ever had the joy of being around me when I'm really high and paranoid. I'm pretty sure you have.
Oh, yeah.
It sucks because I freak the fuck out. And then I see a witch in Chris's fucking parking lot. So,
and you run back and claim witch, and then make me feel bad that I didn't see witch, and then later on tell me it was a balloon.
I didn't know what it was. I filmed it. I was like, dude, it's a witch. And I was freaked the fuck out. And then I felt bad. I'm like, I betrayed Rob, but I witnessed a witch. But I loved Chris, and I no longer know who I am. I need to go home.
So, you had to reevaluate things.
I every couple of weeks I have to reevaluate things, as a matter of fact. So I think that's definitely a fucking creepy story, especially just because you're in a graveyard and shit. It's just it's icky.
Giving the devil the due. And I mean that, I guess, literally and figuratively. I don't think it was just somebody saying, "Oh, do you hear that?" because they don't want to hug their buddy. Just hug your buddy when they're crying. That's just future reference.
That's what you do.
And it's not just because you're high. I think they were really hearing voices. Now, I will say this. This is me putting the rare time I put on my skeptic hat. There are times when we live in a small town that has, or until recently had, a minor league baseball team. And the muffled sound of the PA announcer, I swear, sounds like it's coming from deep within the bowels of hell as filtered through right beneath me all the time.
Yeah.
Every time. And so I don't think human beings are auditorially equipped to be super discerning about the locations of sounds, even at our best, much less, high as a kite or in any other state. But even no matter what we're doing, it is really hard. So you hear this murmur from a distance, and then you're like, that's 6 foot under. Mark said, don't name the net. And then all of a sudden, shit goes out of control. But it is weird that once they leave the area, it's gone. But then again, it could be people quieting down because it could be another group of teens, maybe even friends from the same high school, also getting high, and then they hear shit approaching. And what do? You fucking quiet down because you never know when it's the popo. You got to be cautious.
But that doesn't even mean the sound was gone. So real quick, I'll make this quick. When I lived at my other building in the same apartment complex, Rob was over, and I'm like, dude, I hear this high-pitched whining sound outside my apartment. And we searched for it for a half hour, maybe.
Longer.
It felt like it was coming from the backyard, but depending on where you're standing, it sounded like it was right in front of the building.
It's true. You turn slightly to the left, it's brilliantly loud. Slightly to the right, it's so muffled that it might be miles away.
Yeah, really? And we drove. I think actually when we were doing our other unnamed pod at Mark's house, and so we were heading down there, and you could hear it, and then at one point you just couldn't hear it.
Huh?
It ended up being like a weird car alarm to this one car that was parked in the complex. And I somehow traced it back, and you couldn't hear it until your ear was to the car. It was such a small, tiny whine sound. But because of the way the buildings were placed, it made it sound like it was either 10 feet away or possibly a half a mile away.
Exactly.
Seriously, it was out of fucking control.
Huh. Yeah, that's bizarre. I have I'll keep it quick here. I actually have a similar story. When my wife and I sold our last home, and we were in the process of buying our our current house, we were living elsewhere. So it was myself, my wife, my kids, and my dog. So this spot was out kind of like in the woods, sort of like, back roads or back roads or whatever. And the property is huge. So me and my dog one night, I was all fucked up and I was just out there with her walking around doing shit. And I heard a bunch of voices coming from like a farmer's field. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And I'm listening and I can hear like jubilation and screams and roars and all this other stuff. I'm like, what is going on?
And you were surrounded, this is not giving anything away, surrounded by rural plowed farm areas. You were not surrounded by neighbors.
It's literally a farmer's field. Like there's acres and acres of like football fields worth of farm field. It was crazy how much room there was.
It was he who walks behind the road who actually moonlights as a DJ.
So I'm obviously high as a kite, and I'm convincing myself that there's a cult in the fucking field and that I've stumbled across them. So
well, why would you not? That's the deal.
I get myself so freaked out that I turn around to run away, trip over the dog's leash that I'm hanging on to, fall forward, save the beer. The dog doesn't know what to do. My poor baby is just freaking out, like licking my face, like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I'm like, "We got to get out of here, Maggie. We got to get out of here." So we do. Turns out it was from the drive-in movie theater, which is about 1.5 miles away, because there's nothing to stop the noise, echoed all the way down these farmer fields to where I thought that I had found some weird Scientology offshoot death cult that I was going to have to infiltrate and eventually take over.
And that's a cavalcade of like unmasked, shitty mid-70s speakers that most people don't even use. They just tune it in on their radio. So you just have this pulsating from all these little intermittent points, dialogue of, the latest whatever fucking movie it was. It could have been a Pirates of the Caribbean, but remove yourself by 1/2 mile and it's a nightmarish din of cult activity.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, and then I spent the rest of the summer actually just walking through the fields with my dog to the movies to watch them. So it was cool. Of course. It actually ended up working out. Yeah. So
driving for life. And you know what? All that having been said, there is this part of me that desperately wants to think the dead commune at night. And you know what? Maybe you get to go to an afterlife, and maybe you get to do these other things, but maybe you also kind of make friends with your neighbors at the fucking dead park, and you're just like, "Hey, Bill, what's up? Whatever, World War I vet, you fucking did some shit in the 70s that was, I don't know, mildly harrowing, and you have something in common. You talk shit at night because you can, because maybe you're allowed this like little integration half hour every fucking night if you want to, before you have to go off and do whatever night school or bullshit you have to do in whatever religion you believe in." So I'd like to think that Dick and his cohorts, who, by the way, were doing the right thing, paying respects to a fallen comrade and also bringing the buddy that survived with them.
Totally.
I'd like to think that maybe they stumbled across the continued consciousness of humanity integrating in ways that would never happen, except they just happen to be buried next to each other, not stuck there forever, because everyone knows cemeteries are the least haunted places in the world, because that has nothing to do with any post-spiritual existence or even harrowing death, unless you got killed in a cemetery. Then you live in a state of perpetual irony. But I'd like to think there's at least a chance something paranormal went down.
Yeah, no, he fucking heard the dead chattering underground, dude. Yeah.
There always is, but
yeah, I'm there, man. He's fucking old boy Dickie got me sold. Fucking dead underground there talking and shit, getting all chattery. Fucking get out, boys, get out. Don't go back. Well, no, actually, go back. Go see your buddy. Just go back during the day when the dead aren't talking.
Or go at night and try to talk to the dead. They might be interesting.
I don't know, man. Pushing boundaries there. You never know. I don't know. You never know. You never know.
If old people are interesting, the dead are interesting.
Oh, Jesus.
And I'm dissing old people. I mean, I find old people fascinating. They've done incredible shit.
We are old people, guys. So there you go.
Older. You're right. But we haven't done as much fascinating stuff. All right, let's go to the next story.
Anyway. All right, what do we got? What's next?
Where we're at here. I'm going to see if there. This one comes to us from Travis.
All right.
And Travis says, "Hey guys, first a little background. I live in the city of Bristol, Tennessee. We are in the far eastern corner of the state, and our city is actually split between Tennessee and Virginia. Oh, one of those split down the middle cities.
Yeah.
The area is full of historically significant locations and equally full of the paranormal. Nearly everyone I know has some type of story to tell, from ghosts and witches to UFOs and cryptids. The Holy Four, I guess. We even have our own werewolf. Fucking A right, you do. Here is just one of the experiences I have had. This story took place in my early 20s, so in the early 2000s. My best friend and I had taken my girlfriend at the time and her sister to a midnight movie. The little sister as a date for your buddy.
That's the
Has
deal.
anyone else done that? Oh my God,
Of course.
that seemed to be such a staple of my 90s hood. That's so funny. While we were in the theater, it began to snow. Nothing much, just enough to make people in the South freak out. As relatives down south I have, yes, a third of an inch is enough to make people lose their mind. At the time, I despised interstate travel. And to be totally honest, I still do. Thank you for your honesty, Travis. I decided that taking the girls home via a back road would be a better choice. That was a mistake.
Uh-oh.
As we were driving along a dark country road, me and my girlfriend in the front, my friend and the other sister in the back, I saw something just at the edge of my headlights on a small embankment. At first, it looked like a large animal. I slowed down, not wanting to have to slam on the brakes in the snow. That's when it happened. What I originally thought to be a large dog or a small bear, it's very common to see bears here, leaped off the bank and into the street in front of us, no more than 5 feet from the front bumper. So that shit's tight.
Whoa, it's close.
That's really close.
It was no animal that I had ever seen before, and thankfully have never seen again. It stood approximately 3 feet tall, but it was hunched over. It was bipedal and had 2 long, thin arms. When the headlights hit it, the creature raised an arm to cover its large yellow eyes that sat in a large oblong head. It was covered in a thin black fur, almost like a bat. Okay, so bipedal is where you got me right out the gate. Large yellow eyes, oblong head, bat-like tufts of dark fur. It's all a shit show. The 2 feet and the thin arms.
3 feet tall.
3 feet tall, hunched over.
Hunkered over. So it's 3 feet hunkered over, so maybe it's barely cresting the hood, but you get the impression that maybe if it stood to its full height, it might be considerably more. You don't know for sure.
That's a tough one.
If it's got like a weird long back, then maybe.
That's true.
Like,
but
long,
regardless
it could
of like,
be. Just at a perpetual 90-degree angle. Like, hey.
that would be fun. All right, stooping ham.
Yeah. It's or it could just be like an old miniature Wendigo, like a tiny little guy.
The wither to go.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. All right, weird. This has an odd
nailed it. Nailed it.
Regardless, at 5 feet distance, approximately 3 feet high, its eyes that were covering, it was trying to cover, were visible because, Travis notes, it stood there staring at us while we stared back. Then it crouched down further and leaped into the field on the opposite side of the street. We lost sight of it almost immediately. One of the girls wanted to get out and see what it was, to which we replied, yeah, the fuck is... This is what they said. Cool. See you in the morning.
Yeah.
Good luck.
The next sentence is pragmatism at its core. She decided against it.
Yeah, there you go.
Good plan.
But I'm with her because
I know, me too.
You see this thing, and it's not necessarily aggressive. It's an animal trying to escape from the bore of the headlights and whatever else. Yes, and plus I assume you're an invulnerable teen. Nothing will ever destroy you except your own apathy and disgust with the world that you've been given, and fucking you just want to deal with whatever this is because it's more thrilling than this movie you just saw or this asshole friend that your fucking sister's boyfriend has saddled you with.
Yeah.
But she better judgment prevailed.
No, yeah.
Good.
We took them home. And then on the way back, my friend and I did what most people would and tried to rationalize what we had witnessed. By the time I dropped him off, we were convinced that it was all just a combination of the late hour, the snow, and that we had just watched a horror movie. That's what I told myself, and that would have been the end of the story if not for two things. At the time, I was working in a tattoo shop. A few days after my encounter, having told no one, I went to work. The shop owner came in and said, "I have to tell you what happened last night." He then proceeded to tell me that he and a buddy of his had been riding bikes and that some quote-unquote thing had jumped out from the trees behind them and started chasing them.
Whoa.
Then he describes the exact same creature that I had seen a few nights before. Needless to say, I was freaked the fuck out.
Oh, shit. But this time it's aggressive. It's on the move. It's making
chasing,
power moves.
maybe.
It's chasing.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, a car is a big, intimidating animal with two giant glowing eyes. So when you're 3 foot tall, when you're hunched, you get the fuck out of there. You see two asshats, they're probably really good guys and gifted artists, riding around on their fucking bikes. You're like, oh, that's me. That's like lamb on a fucking pedal. I'm going to fucking gyro the fuck out of you.
Lamb on a pedal.
There you go.
About 2 weeks after that, we were partying at my friend Jabba's place. And I tell the story.
Fucking Jabba. Yeah, dude.
If that's your fat buddy, that's both kind of cool and a little hurtful. But I'll let that ride.
I don't know, man.
You don't know?
Dude, when your buddy's nicknamed Jabba and you're like, it's a Wookiee, like, that's fucking dope, dude. Fucking Solo. That's fucking awesome,
He's
dude.
probably your dealer, too.
Yeah, more than likely.
He's almost definitely your dealer, too.
He hands out your dubs.
Yeah. Jabba, bro. Bro, it's me, Bib Fortuna, dude. I need some fucking weed, dog. What do you got? Yeah, dude.
Oh,
my God.
Your 90s fucking code to get high was wonderful for the record.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Jobs, this is Bibs. What do we got?
This is right.
I
Your
need
voice
some
got
Ocho
continually
Wookiee,
higher.
bro. I need some Ocho Wookiee.
Oto.
And if the price is too off, you go, Ichuta? How rude.
Ichuta. Oh, we're stupid Star Wars fans.
Jabba
All right,
then
anyway.
informs us that he used to see the same thing when he was in high school in the woods near his house. He said
shit.
it would watch while people waited for the bus.
Whoa.
Travis adds, fuck that.
That's a creepy. That's
Okay, so now it's an urban legend.
But, all right, so here's the
Yeah.
thing, though. I mean, all right, so Jabba, obviously he is his dealer because he's that guy that's in his mid-20s selling to the 16-year-olds, and they're partying at his apartment/trailer.
school.
It's phenomenal. That monster
bushes.
It loved watching the tail at the stop, man. You know how it did. It was a monster. He was horny. It was the 90s. Fucking whatever. Ichuta. But first off, Jabba warned some fuckers, if you have a proximity, like if you're not waiting at the bus stop, but you're the guy in his house who's up early enough to watch the kids at a bus stop, A, fucking quit it. B, let them know there's a predator staring at them from the bushes that apparently they're not able to see. But here, I'm not here to judge Jabba.
You know, or
maybe.
conversely, you can just wait and see what happens. Which I think is what he did.
Fair enough.
That's what he did. Clearly. I'm just going to watch this play out. We're going to see what happens.
Yeah,
So
nature
this is like
in all its glory.
Yeah, so it's been cited by multiple people, and apparently it's obviously been there for a couple of years.
Well,
so,
you got Travis, fucking his girlfriend, her
buddy,
sister, his buddy.
Yep.
Jabba, and apparently two people that work and or frequent the tattoo parlor. So it's enough to create a buzz. It's enough for me to say that there is corroboration enough to look into this phenomenon. That's for sure. And
I was curious.
We don't really know how old Jabba is, though.
No, we don't.
Right.
I'm picking on Jabba. I really don't know. What I do know is this is the early 2000s, which is, yes, well nigh 2 decades ago, but still not beyond the pale for finding out information. So, Travis, to that end, I will say, as I often do, I would definitely love to pick your brain and maybe do a police artist sketch at some point in the not too distant future of specifically what you saw, because I know there's werewolf legends among many other things, but that is fucking fascinating and terrifying, and cryptids are my jam. But
I mean, I'm just curious in that area. Is there any known cryptids that we've ever covered? I mean, I was almost thinking like a devil monkey, but not really, just because I think sometimes they are described as having like yellowish eyes.
Well, devil monkeys definitely have been described as having jaundiced, yellowy eyes. Yeah. And they are just ubiquitous throughout, I mean, I guess the greater continental United States, but particularly portions of what you would call the Midwest and Illinois and other places, but it's not beyond the pale that they might show up in Virginia / Tennessee.
But 3 feet tall, hunched over. I mean,
bipedal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a possibility we're dealing with a devil monkey type thing here. And maybe because that was not such a well-known legend then or even now, it would become attributed to a werewolf. I actually wonder how many, because I know dogmen, thanks to Linda Godfrey's press on the Bray Road Beast and just the eye of the paranormal world turning more toward it has become a much more celebrated phenomenon. But I still wonder how often that really is a devil monkey. That just because it has a longer snout and is more lithe and whatever, it is being called a dog man. Because at a distance, I mean, if you didn't know you were looking at a baboon at a distance or any number of long-snouted primates, non-human primates, you would be like, the fuck, it's a dog, it's a man, it's a dog man. Which is not to say there aren't dog men or werewolves. Maybe there's all three, but
there's dog boys, wolf boys, fucking wolf girls, wolf women,
JoJo. There's dog boys,
the
dog-faced
boy,
snail teens.
You had to do snail teens, didn't you?
Nice. Snail teens.
And that's my favorite thing. And they're all wearing leather jackets for the record.
Totally. So I mean, ripping missiles.
Fuck. When the weird wolf guys looking at them from the bus stop, snail teens give no fucks.
That's right.
They can't crawl fast, but they got a shell to rely on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe we're dealing with some local cryptid and or, again, possibly, although he did state that it wasn't an animal that he had ever seen before, there are bear in the area. If you have ever seen a hairless bear, it is just sort of adorable and completely terrifying.
Yeah, no, it's a scumbag.
That wouldn't necessarily describe the 3 foot and still. Well, maybe it could describe
this is clearly
stature.
Not hairless, though. It had weird, bushy, bat-like hair.
Yeah. So
this is what Travis had to
cool.
say. Travis had to say this. I still don't know what the hell this thing was or is, or even if it was the same one. And I like the fact that Travis points that out. Because there's no guarantee just because Jabba happened to see something and the people that he worked with at the tattoo shop happened to see them doesn't mean it's the same thing. And I'm glad he didn't naturally assume that it was, though it might have been. But I found myself on the same road years later and promptly turned around. I don't blame you there. Anyway, that's the story. I hope you guys enjoyed it. In closing, let me say that during the quarantine, I am considered essential and am on the road nearly every day. You guys and Peyton make the long hours enjoyable. I know you hear it all the time, but it truly feels like I'm just hanging out with my crew talking about 80s cartoons, comics, punk and metal, and stuff that goes bump in the night. You guys fucking rock. Travis, you fucking rock. Thank you for this. Dude. And yes, Travis, I definitely want to pick your brain more about this because I think this might be a phenomenon that might actually have a broader spectrum than even the myriad individuals you've talked to. And I would love to know more about it. It could be an important event. So thank you.
Let us know, man. Get in touch and thank you for the story. That's awesome. I'm glad that you can fucking, it sucks to be essential, but I'm glad that we can be with you there for the long rides, fucking hanging out, talking shit. So thank you so very much.
Hear, hear. Now we got the final story. And this story is from Michael. And here's where we might have a branding problem or a significant fan that is just nailing it. And that is, hey, Evil Science and Magic Buddies.
That's right.
To which I will say, Michael, you are dead up. That is the banner under which it will fly. But just to be clear, it is still the Cryptonaut Podcast presents, as Mark likes to say, Evil Science and Magic Buddies. But thank you for being so specific. So Michael says this. I have a story that you guys will love, and I apologize in advance that it's so long, but it's definitely worth it. Some quick background. My family has been practicing witchcraft forever. I don't know how long that is, but I assume it's a long
forever.
time.
It's dope.
It's second nature to us, and I've been practicing since I was about 9 or 10. This story
Coolest kid ever.
Yeah, I know, I agree. This story involves one of my truly best friends, Sarah, and a former friend of ours, Blanca.
Ooh,
which means white, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I think the fact that it's one of your truly best friends and a former friend, I think that's deep foreshadowing right in the beginning.
We'll see.
Sarah, myself, and the aforementioned friend grew up in a very small town. Like, no stoplights, no fast food aside from McDonald's, without a major grocery store, and in the part of California with huge summer thunderstorms. All of those factors become important later. About 4 years ago, we decided that we weren't in the mood for burritos or McDonald's, so we drove out to a rest stop that had a Starbucks, Popeyes, and a bunch of other little fast food places. We went to Starbucks first, 'cause priorities.
Yeah.
I celebrate that. Then to Popeyes. Oh, well, then I truly celebrate that.
Oh,
Java first, fried chicken second, perfect combo.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
We get our orders and our receipts, which read 664, 665, and drumroll please. I added that. 666. The number of the beast.
The devil.
The Deval, hell and fire are about to be unleashed. I love it.
Indeed. And I got the 664 and 665. The friend who was still Christian-ish at the time got 666.
Oh, is that Blanca?
Freaks.
I think so.
In all caps, and yes, I believe that is Blanca. Sarah and I, being such good people, immediately start making jokes about her getting the devil's chicken, quote unquote. Right up our alley.
The devil's chicken.
Enjoy your Satan drumsticks.
You're gonna burn in hell. Fuck yeah. With a number 3, motherfucker. Give me some friend. I want the potato wedges. Or I mean, actually the fries and the fucking coleslaw.
Oh, you need the biscuit. You need the biscuit.
Double coleslaw. No, I give you my biscuit because I don't want a biscuit. I want double coleslaw.
The biscuit?
I know.
I want double coleslaw, dude.
He's
You
worried
are
about his
fucking
thighs.
really
I'm worried
kicked
about
out
my
of the
belly.
pod.
Biscuits forever.
Man,
yeah, I agree.
You deny the biscuit for coleslaw?
Dude, I want more chicken in another coleslaw.
Dude,
It's
you can
wow.
wedge chicken within
Who
the
the fuck are
biscuit
you?
and make
Who the fuck
glory.
are you?
Listen. Anyway,
Coleslaw. No, give me cabbage. I don't want the delicious buttermilk. Give me fucking cabbage. Shredded
not taking the
cabbage.
biscuits,
That's better.
man. Anyway.
Well, Chris,
so
I
kicked
think we
out.
know who the Blanca in this troika is.
Oh
my
Jesus.
God.
Fine,
Yeah.
I'll be the Blanca. Whatever. It's me. Mark Blanca Stores. Fuck you guys. How about that?
Yeah,
So-
exactly.
Besides having the devil's chicken invoked, it was also mentioned that Satan
man.
has a thing for Popeye's spicy strips and that he was going to come get her because she ate too much fried chicken.
Oh, come on, man.
Dude, I'll tell you what, man. Them fucking spicy strips are the shit. And straight up, Spicy's Popeye's spicy chicken sandwich is a fucking game changer. I drive
true.
45 minutes alone to get one.
Yeah.
I
We
am
all
with
do.
It's
family.
pretty spicy.
We all pretend we want
So
to see
good.
IMAX movies when in reality we just want to eat Popeyes, and it's really nice to see movies in IMAX.
It's
Exactly.
true. It's
We know
much
what
small.
we do. Yeah, of course.
I love fucking
He's like
Popeyes,
Popeyes,
dude.
and then I went there. I'm like, I don't know about these, and then I hit the tenders, and I'm like, I don't know. And then by like the second tender in, I'm like, this could be the greatest thing I ever put in my mouth.
Exactly. Dude, exactly.
It was.
Exactly.
I'm like, every time now when we go to the movies, we fucking
time.
crush Popeyes after. Yeah.
It's just, it's ritual, de rigor.
Dude,
Yeah.
I drive 45 minutes to Camillus, or I mean to like North Syracuse by myself. My family's not even there, so I can get a sandwich and drive back.
Why aren't
I
you
eat in the
telling
parking
me?
lot alone.
Why aren't you
Yeah.
telling
that-
me?
No, really.
Why don't you tell me?
We aren't your friends
it's-
anymore?
I don't.
Dick?
I'm not. Well, I mean, I'm working days now, so I haven't done it in quite a while. Whenever I got doctor's appointments for my knee, I go over there. But so yeah,
All right,
all right, man.
well.
It's fucking devil's chicken, dog. What's up? What's happening?
all
Spicy
right.
chicken, the Satan.
And that he, as in Satan, was going to come get her because she ate too much fried chicken. I mentioned that a moment ago. Well, she started taking it well. I think that's sarcasm. Then you slowly saw legitimate fear creeping in.
Oh, no, it wasn't sarcasm then.
No, it wasn't sarcasm. I totally misinterpreted this. Yes. So we lay off teasing and headed back to my house. Now, the entire time we've been getting our food, this massive thunderstorm is building about 10 miles from my house. As we finally pull up, the storm is only about 3 miles away, while the sky above my house and the surrounding few blocks is completely clear. There's nothing more enthralling and terrifying than that storm
ominous
line.
and amazing.
Yes, you know it's coming. It reminds me of the lightning storm we watched come in over Mark's old house that one night.
Oh my God, after the pod, We're
in harm's way for an hour just to delight in it. But having no common sense whatsoever, we decided to walk down to the end of my block to watch the storm, approximately a half mile or so. So the storm's about 3 miles away. They walk a half mile towards it just to get a better view of it. Cool. We get to the end of the block and cross to where my street intersects, and it changes names. The storm is now only about a mile away. The air is heavy, and it feels tense for some reason. Well, it could be the storm. Could be the Dark Lord. Never know.
Storm or Satan.
We start teasing the friend about the chicken again.
Oh, Jesus.
It never gets old. Saying that the storm is the devil coming to get her and that he's going to have all kinds of fried chicken instead of chicken or vegetable options at their wedding. Stupid shit like that is what is conceded by Michael. Yeah, when you guys marry, when you fuck the devil and live forever, you're not going to have a vegetarian option. It's going to be Popeyes or more Popeyes.
There's gonna be no ziti or nothing, just fucking Popeyes. And there's no biscuits, it's all coleslaw. Fuck you.
No ziti. No those weird candy almond things. No fucking candles.
No bag of shit that nobody eats.
No open bar.
No garbage candy. Just bag of Popeyes. That's it. Coated in that weird white shit. God.
She's getting irritated, and she snaps at us, telling me and Sarah to stop teasing her because she's getting freaked out. Well, at that exact moment she snaps, there's cloud to cloud and then some cloud to ground lightning. Okay, so at the exact moment she snaps, lightning, cloud to cloud, and then cloud to ground, like, oh shit.
Oh, they just triggered her mutant powers.
They did.
Really? I know.
Exactly. She spoiler alert, fucking Blanca's actually Storm. Good luck.
I don't know what came over me and Sarah, but we started cackling. Not just dumb joke giggles, but full belly laughs.
Whoa.
As we're laughing, there's huge thunderclaps. We make a joke about the devil not liking that we're picking on her, and she just huffs, and as she does, another lightning strike. Sarah and I laugh again, another big thunderclap. Then we realize the sound of the storm is matching our reactions and our laughter. Whoa. I don't know what came over us, but we just stood there laughing at nothing, and the storm just goes wild. It's finally down the street from where we're standing, and the rain begins. I think we must have somehow lost some time because we didn't stop laughing until the clouds were over us and the rain started. The cold, heavy drops finally brought us back, and we walked back to my house. I can't remember if we had planned on watching it or if it was by chance, but we decided to watch The Witches of Eastwick. Now for the kicker. Across the road from where we stood was a stump where I would leave my offerings or the leftover bits from a working. Mark, you might be able to explain that part. Is that the refuse of a ritual?
Yeah, something, I'm assuming like that.
Yeah, whatever whatever type of offering you're leaving to whatever you're working with.
Fair enough.
It's,
like a spell.
This all happened.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
This all happened about a month before my stump was pulled from the ground. I think it was having a final swan song of big magic before it died. Hope you hope this is great. Hope you nerds are doing well and keeping some semblance of sanity in all this mess. Michael. We're doing our best, Michael, and you're helping us all.
Actually, I know who Michael is. What's up? Oh, fuck, Michael. What's going on, man? I just, that last part there, I hope you nerds are doing well. Fucking, I talked to Michael quite a bit. What's up, Michael? Thank you so much for the story.
Are you constantly being addressed as a nerd by Michael?
No. I think at one point he just he had sent me a message. Be like, yeah, what's up? Hope you nerds are all right. That totally makes sense, though. So fucking shout outs.
One of the most cinematic things I've read in a long time, where you just get the sense this is just we're buddies. We razz each other. We razz the people we love most of all, the people we know that can take it. Maybe Blanca was or was not the person that can take it, but the fact that what I find fascinating is, and it might be completely just coincidence, I'll admit it, but their laughter is punctuated by thunder, and her petulant reaction, Blanca's petulant reactions, are always punctuated with lightning. And then at some point, Michael senses that there is some sort of synchronicity between these atmospheric just fireworks and their physical reactions, and then delights in it all the more, which means you're sort of swept away in it. Which isn't that the frenzy of the witches? Isn't that the whole point of whether it's a voodoo ritual or anything from India, European witches, where you're so caught up in your communal moment with the fiery destructive elements of nature that you lose yourself in them, and yet at the same time are invulnerable to them. I mean, that's sort of elevation of just your consciousness to these just fantastic displays in nature is something that has been poo-pooed by academia, but has been literally the top of the mountain for almost every theosophical and or ritualistic endeavor that mankind and womankind has ever striven to be a part of. I find that really fascinating, that it's manifested, and that it really falls around a Popeyes, some friends, a random night, and some shit that you would get off of HBO. It could have been it could have been The Craft, it could be fucking Witches of Eastwick, it could be whatever, and that all the normalcy of that, in those heated moments, it still shows you the grandeur of humankind's ability to commune with what might well be higher forces.
Yeah, just kind of you get wrapped up in it, and it comes to full fruition, and there you are experiencing. It's fucking obviously it's kind of terrifying. Just because it's the nature of the situation, but at the same time it's kind of cool. Like, it's kind of to have that connection like that. It's kind of fucking neat.
If we were to take this analogy to the next step, and you truly were the Blanca, and Chris was the Michael and I was the Sarah, and every time Chris and I laugh, thunder roars, and every time you're like, fuck you guys, I like coleslaw, lightning strikes, it would really be a moving situation to live through.
Yeah, it would be, totally. Yeah, 100%. It's, like I said, just, like full, like a full immersion into it. Like, you're literally, as you're going back and forth, the elements are echoing that sentiment as well. So
I don't think that's beyond the pale. I mean, I know I pick honestly on you in magic, but I also know that the idea of being able to harness these things temporarily really implies that for the long term, you are still enslaved to them and endangered by them. So much like I don't technically believe in demons, I try not to technically believe in magic, because to me, it's like early electricity. Like the first time they wired your house, like right after Tesla had a few good ideas. And it's like, you can turn on lights without whale fat burning in your fucking hallway, but also like 3 out of your 4 kids are going to get electrocuted. I'm just not comfortable with where the science is yet.
I don't think though that that's, I don't believe that that's like one of the after effects of the occult or magic. I mean, I think it's really, you get what you put in. So I think as long as you're practicing and you're being even keeled, I don't really see there being a negative effect. I had a couple of weird experiences, but I'm clearly not at times a well-balanced person. So that's, I think, something that's naturally going to happen.
But also,
is that if you go into it with a bad mind
of all your friends too. So
right,
you know me well enough to know that fucking there's a very good reason why I would be half terrified, half intrigued by the notion. Because
I think it really does come down to those what you bring to the table and what your intention is. And obviously there have been times in the past where I've, not that I had bad intentions, but I don't necessarily have the fortitude. And I know my limitations. Like, I clearly understand that. So I think as long as you're going into this, and especially with Michael being this a part of, their lives from the time they were 8 or 9, it's probably just regular practice.
You're right.
Doesn't
if
even,
it's built into your lifestyle,
anybody.
maybe it's something. But I'm here to say, like, I think the only effective wizard, and who knows how effective he was at it, was fucking Isaac Newton. Because even though he might not have transmuted gold, he had that empirical, fucking dead up, scientific, calm way about him that, he could rewrite modern physics and do all sorts of shit he's celebrated for, but he could also spend a full half of his life incarnating fuck all, and maybe some of it was super successful and maybe some of it wasn't, but you better be that pragmatic and sure of yourself before you even dip your fucking toes into it, unless of course you're raised in it and you just have this natural bombastic confidence. Otherwise, I think, it's the angel heart protocols. That shit can go so far south.
Yeah, I mean, I guess honestly though, I guess it depends on what you bring to it. Like, what are you trying to get out of it? That, I think, is going to determine the results that you're going to get. And I mean, obviously Michael's been doing it forever. So, I mean, I don't think there's going to be like some weird monkey paw type situation to, a reference you made earlier.
I don't think this is a situation. I think the storm is really what brought it, and they're feeling what the storm is bringing, and maybe they got caught up in that.
You're right. There is a tangible electrical maelstrom that will affect you biologically and psychologically. You're right, Chris.
Yeah, I believe that's the case. I don't think it was anything if they're sensitive to anything like that, if that's the case, then they were just reacting to the energy of what that storm was bringing. That's the way I read it.
It makes sense.
That's the way it reads.
But so much of this would be a symbiosis anyway. You bring something to the table, but it's full on hubris to think that a human being, be it Merlin or fucking whoever, changes the whole environment. It could be just engaging with the environment in a more direct and intimate way that allows people to, somehow capitalize on it and or bring things into being or whatnot. But it makes much more sense that the environment dictates the circumstances, not the individual.
Yeah, in this case especially, that's what I get.
Right, or conversely, though, for some reason they are maybe not influencing the environment, but manipulating it, or maybe, I guess it would be that they would be manipulating it just from the sheer emotions.
Well,
I mean,
it could
if
be
everything
a storm was really there, and that their heightened emotions and perhaps Michael's familial abilities made it. Made a synchronicity occur that might not have occurred with people that are not versed in this at all.
Right. Well, and that's exactly like along the lines of like magical thinking. 100%. So it's kind of cool though. At the same way I said before, it's kind of fucking terrifying.
Yeah, poor Blanca.
Like it's still, she's just like, what the fuck? Like all of a sudden, I am the storm. Like, so no, I think that's fucking fascinating and interesting.
I will say this: I know Chris has heard this story. I know that fucking maybe you have too. But there was this time I went to a mom and pop video store in our small town. It's a place where a bar called Parker's now exists or did or whatever. But there was this video store, and I rented this very filthy German film called Necromantic. I was going to show it to some people that hadn't seen it before. It's an obscene. Necromantic should tell you all you need to know if you don't know about the film already. And the old lady behind the counter just had this diabolical look. It really looked like if Satan himself had shaved his goatee, put on white pancake makeup, and a bluish gray wig, and like glasses with the chain that dangles around your shoulders. And so I went up there and I got really nervous. And she goes, oh, and she kind of smiled and looked at me and smiled down at the box and handed it back to me. Not what you'd expect a grandmother to react to necromantic. And she goes, she slid the thing across me and she looked me dead in the eye, like her glasses were down her nose. She looks at me, she goes, sign your soul away. And I fucking had an ice panic run through me. And I didn't want to not rent the movie, so Ernest B. Showstack indeed rented that movie. I thought maybe I got a disclaimer, but I thought to myself, I can't believe I thought this motherfucker looked like the devil, like in a real shitty disguise. And he wants my soul, and I'm renting fucking German necrophiliac horror porn or whatever. It's not hardcore porn. It's a piece of shit movie, really, but it is what it is.
It's a nightmare.
And it was like, it was one of those things where it's like, so Popeyes might give you 666 and it seems trite and not important, but I was just running a movie with my buddies in the 90s, and suddenly I was like, my pen is in my hand and I am at the crossroads, and Charlie Daniels is singing about me.
Dude, you better get that fiddle, dude. You better fucking get that fiddle.
I didn't sign my fucking own name. I promise you that. I was about to sign Robert T. Morphy II, as was my
You're
wand.
like, nope.
No.
Because once the devil sees that signature and he's like, I'm going to go collect my soul. He's like, oh, God damn it. Robert Smith from The Cure isn't really here.
I
Son
need that
of a
spider-headed fuck like I need herpes.
Oh, God damn it. That's funny. Creepy and funny.
So be careful about the business you do, because every now and again, I think diabolical entities can show up, be it at Popeye's Chicken or the long defunct mom and pop video store, which is something that will never show up again unless there's some weird post-apocalyptic blockbuster that I can't anticipate. But wherever you happen to be at,
there might be.
If your gut tells you something vile is happening, write somebody else's name. Make it a made-up name, because if you're really trying to throw a friend under the bus, that might be shady. Yeah, definitely. All right, well, cool. There you have it. Thank y'all so very much for joining us for the Kryptonaut podcast. Evil Science and Magic Buddies, Listener Stories, Episode 6. So keep those stories coming. Kryptonautpodcast@gmail.com, or just DM me and I'll send you the address if you don't remember it. No big deal. Hellerspace.com. Get yourself some merch. Mask up, people. We are in the middle of a fucking, well, we're not in the middle of a pandemic. We're still just in a pandemic. Oh, we're in the throes of it. It's getting worse.
We're in the throes of it.
If you look at the stats for America, we haven't gotten better. It's a little uglier and scarier. I'm glad we're open, but be careful, because we love you.
So do yourself a favor, get yourself that mask. Patreon.com/Kryptonaut Podcast. $1 is a shout out. $5 is a shout out and some bonus audio. The Instas and the Twitters and the Facebooks, obviously we're there hanging out, doing our thing. Check it out. The Facebook group is dope. I think we're getting close to like 1,000 people in there or something, some number. I can't really remember. Yeah, it's getting pretty full.
Really?
So jump in there, check that out. It's awesome. It's a good time. And yeah, that's it. Thank you all so very much for joining us. Closing thoughts, gentlemen.
Yeah, no. I mean, be careful what you sign. Trust the dead.
It's not anywhere in the story, but
yeah, that's right.
But
there you go.
But don't trust your ears. I think that's fair.
And fuck Chick-fil-A too.
All right, fuck Chick-fil-A. Yeah, fuck Chick-fil-A.
Fuck Chick-fil-A.
But they have
I've never been there.
It's not because of anything diabolical, though maybe it is. It's because they're shitbags. Yeah, no, you're right.
The fucking chicken sucks.
All right, I'm trying to round it up. I mean, be careful what you see on a back road. If you're the best friend and your best friend's fucking brother's got a girlfriend that has a sister, always know that you're not what she wants. That's fucking weak.
You're gonna be. Nice. You might. She's gonna think of you as just a little more than a friend.
Yep.
If you're lucky, like if you put the full court press on.
That's always how it is. That's how it used to be, at least. She likes you like
stupid,
a little
gorgeous.
bit more than a friend. Yeah. I'm not. So.
Well, yeah, none of
Stupid
us are.
Gorgeous.
I mean, that's a very small percentile of the human population. If you are that, then you don't have to worry about any of the rules. Even demons avoid you. You're good to go. Juggle on the dead all you want. If you're beautiful, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, demons try to seduce you. Like their tricks don't work. They're like,
they're super horny for you. Like, can I bring you some Popeyes? Can I bring you necromantic?
Yeah.
What can I do for you?
Oh, that's not a bad demon though. It's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, well, be hotter. And then it'll
There
happen.
you go. Be hotter. I'm gonna work on that.
Get some
shit.
abs, idiot.
Yeah, I'm gonna start fucking. Oh shit! I'm gonna start doing some crunches. And be like, I'm gonna get abs, and Chris is gonna think I'm cool.
And once Chris thinks I'm cool, a demon will seduce me with the proper amount of chicken to celery ratio.
Yeah, exactly. I'll fucking take any demon with chicken at this point.
Oh yeah. Oh my god.
If he knocks on my door, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
it's like here's a bucket of
whatever,
chicken.
whatever you are.
I'm like,
Just
come
on
in. We're
Give
gonna
me
finish
a
the
sweet
fucking
fucking
Stargirl.
chicken.
We're gonna
Let's
dig
do-
out some chicken.
Awesome. All right, there you have it. Thank you so much for joining us, and we're talking to you soon.
Okay, goodbye.
Friends.
Finish Stargirl and pick out some chicken.
Oh god.
I'm not lying.
Yeah, no, I fucking feel you. All right, we'll be talking.
Yeah.
Goodbye.